Today, it's a battle between the most expensive whiskeys in my collection and the least expensive. Let's see what comes out on top. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So today we've got a really fun video, one that's got me intrigued, and I hope it intrigues you too. We're comparing the most expensive whiskeys in my collection to the least expensive. So what do we have in front of us, and what's the story going to be? Who's competing here? So we've got the Wild Turkey Master's Keep Voyage. This is the most expensive bottle in my collection. The MSRP is $275. It's a 10-year-old rum-finished bourbon, very special release from Wild Turkey. In fact, the price point on this went up about $100 last year, and that caused a lot of uproar, and people were saying probably not worth that exorbitant price. So we'll see how it fares against these three other contenders. Then we've got the Michter's 10 Rye. This is a $200 whiskey, MSRP. One of the best ryes I've ever had. So I have high hopes for this today, and it would be crazy if this ended up losing. We'll just have to see, but super limited and rare as well from Michter's, one of their more special allocated releases. Then we've got the two cheap ones. We've got a classic in Evan Williams, bottled in bond, consistently available around 16, 17 bucks in a lot of places. It's a classic staple of a lot of collections, great mixer, and a lot of people's favorite sipper under $20. So we'll see how this fares. And then we've got the Kirkland small batch, which is right around $20, but then you consider the fact that it's a liter, and that means you're on par with the Evan Williams and paying somewhere in that $16 to $17 range for this whiskey for the quantity you get. It's a Barton product, so Kirkland overall doesn't make their own whiskey, but it's got a good reputation, and these seem to do well whenever they're released. In any case, it's going to be a fun matchup. Let me move these bottles out of the way, mix everything up here, and we'll dive into the blind. All right, everybody, we've got the blind set up here. Everything's mixed up. I have no idea what the order is here. It's not a double blind because I do know the components, but I haven't tasted any of these whiskeys in quite some time actually, so it'll be interesting to see if I'm even able to identify what they are. But of course the main point is just what's the quality here, and when we're comparing stuff under 20 bucks to stuff that's over $200, is it really 10 times better is what I really want to know here. Are those more expensive ones really 10 times better than the others? Okay, let's go in and we'll start over here. We'll call this glass A, work our way down to glass D. And of course we'll start on the nose. Glass A. Some light fruits. Touch of oak. Maybe some vanilla as well. Maybe a slight touch of like a banana or citrus. A little tiny bit astringent or kind of poppy into the nose. Interesting. A good start, a solid start. Nothing jumping out to me as which one it might be yet though. All right, glass B on the nose. Ooh, much more candy sweet. Yeah, a lot more like cherry lollipop, banana runt qualities here. It's kind of fruity, but it's more in that candied direction. And then some vanilla and caramel. Actually, maybe more like butterscotch on that lighter side. That is a pretty light, bright nose overall. All right, let's go into glass C. Okay, maybe a little darker in tones, especially than glass B. More of a vanilla caramel base to it. Might have a little bit more of a potential peanut in here. But yeah, this one just has it's not jumping out of the glass a ton, but it's got that little bit more dark, slightly richer vanilla caramel, some brown sugar qualities to it that present the quintessential bourbon. All right, let's go into the final contender here, Glass D. Ooh, okay. There was one among the crowd that I thought I might be able to pick out, and if I'm right, we'll see. But this has a more coconut tropical vibe to it. Definitely feel like I'm detecting a rum presence, a little bit like a cinnamon red hot, tropical coconut, even pineapple nature to it. Fascinating. That one jumps out of the glass quite a bit. I'd say Glass B and Glass D jump out of the glass the most, but I honestly might like Glass A and C even better in terms of the notes that they're presenting. Yeah, I'm going back to Glass A here, and it is starting to open up a little bit more fresh. That lemon citrus is jumping out more. Okay, it's hard to tell where I'm leaning here yet. The palate will give us a lot more information though, so let's do that. Just before we dive in, I do want to say, if you're enjoying all the content coming out of the channel and you aren't subscribed yet, I would love to have you aboard for the rest of 2024 and beyond. This is kind of what we do. Blinds, reviews. I try to keep it relaxing, fun, hopefully informative for you. So if you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. While you're at it, hit the like button on this video. Gets it out to more people. And then comment down below. What do you think is going to win here? What do you think is going to take the big win, especially on the palate? All right, let's go into Glass A. Cheers. Oh, man. Oh, man. It just keeps going. That is a phenomenal whiskey. The lemon jumps out now. Lemon cake with vanilla frosting. A little bit of a grass, herbal quality. Definitely citrus, maybe an orange, fruity note. Good amount of oak. And the vanilla lemon thing just sticks around forever. Okay, that is phenomenal. Let me get some water and we'll go to Glass B. All right, Glass B on the palate. Oh man. Oh, it's crazy the flavor difference there. Just the amount of flavor. We took a nosedive. And that's not a criticism of whatever Glass B is. It's more of a praise of Glass A. But now I'm getting this slight peanut shell, chocolate, oak thing. It's kind of good. It's definitely solid in terms of what flavors are being presented. Then you get this cherry, slight banana candiness. It's interesting, but the flavor dial was like 10 out of 10 on A, and then it goes down to, it just feels a little emptier and hollower on Glass B, and a little bit harsher. And so we went down to like a level 4, which is fascinating. If that isn't one of the cheaper ones, I'm going to be really surprised. But it could be. All right, let me get some more water. We'll go to Glass C. Okay, Glass C now on the palate. Kind of a similar story here. Didn't get as much layers. Didn't get as much lingering, distinct notes either. This one has more of this caramel, slight peanut as well. Some red fruits like a cherry, maybe even a strawberry. That's interesting. But then it's got more corn and more youth and grain as well. And the heat is just harsher instead of warm and enveloping. I know I'm kind of comparing everything to Glass A now in my mind, but it set quite the precedent. Okay, let's go to Glass D and round this out. All right, Glass D on the palate. Okay, we've stepped it up again. We went from level 10 flavor, level 4, maybe level 4 or 5. Now we're back up to like an 8. It is rich. It's got this oak and spice right at the core of it that kind of envelops your palate. Then it's got these interesting little flourishes. If I'm right, I'm detecting the rum finish. The little flourishes are kind of like a rum presence, a little bit of like a kiwi fruitiness and coconut. So it jumps out with these little peppering in there kind of finished experiences if I'm right, but the core is this oak and simmering spice. All right, so that gives you a full rundown of the nose and the palate. I'm gonna go back in reverse order now and then do some A/B testing to really figure out my definitive order on all of these. I'll fast forward through all that for you guys so that it's not a super long video, and then we'll reveal the order and talk about the winners. All right, let's do it. Okay, everybody, that actually didn't take me that long. I think a pretty definitive order here has been emerging the whole time, and we're gonna break it down now. So, just to keep you updated on how things developed a little bit, Glass D continues to be that rich, spicy, interesting notes of maybe a rum finish. So I'm thinking that's the Master's Keep, but I could be wrong. Glass C and Glass B are melding in my mind a little bit. They're a little bit harder to discern, but they feel a little bit less distinct. And then Glass A, I'm not kidding, it's got this like pancakes and syrup note on the nose now, and the palate is still ridiculous with the lemon cake stuff going on. So let's dive in. Let's go from last to first, and we'll see if any of the more expensive ones fall down or any of the cheaper ones rise up. Okay, so for me, in last place today was Glass C. So while I do enjoy that kind of caramel, brown sugar note on the nose, the palate has that. It's just weaker and it's harsher and grainier throughout the sip than the others. I did particularly kind of enjoy that caramel note, but that's not enough to save it from coming in last here. My guess is this is the Evan Williams, but we'll see. Let's go. Okay, so that is indeed the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond. Not my personal favorite sipper, so that does go to show you there's something about it I just don't like. Maybe it is that peanut shell grainier presence to me. But for 17 bucks with that caramel, a little bit of oak and vanilla, it's got some of those quintessential bourbon flavors, and it's a great mixer. Okay, in third place for me today, probably not going to surprise you, is Glass B. That rich candied kind of cherry and that banana runts, really, really prominent, almost fake sweetness, but prominent. It was really nice on the nose, and that carried through on the palate. A little bit aggressive and a little bit flat at times, but still a step up from the Evan Williams in my mind. Pretty sure this is the Kirkland small batch, but we'll see if I'm totally wrong here. Okay. It is indeed the Kirkland small batch. So that's coming in third. Goes to show you our two cheaper whiskeys did come in lower positions here. Another thing to note here is that the proof points aren't even that crazy. Like, this is 92, this is 100. I think the Michter's is somewhere in the 90s, might even be in the 80s. And then the Master's Keep, I don't think it's more than 104 or somewhere around there. We'll see in a second. But that didn't really play as much of a role. These just clearly lacked some of the punch. Okay, so now it's down to the last two. Both really interesting whiskeys, but let's be honest, there was a clear winner the whole time, and that is Glass A. So Glass B comes in second place. Pretty sure this is the Master's Keep with that rum finish. Let's see. It is. So this is the Master's Keep, and then winning by kind of a long mile, like just destroying the competition, is this Michter's 10, which I do want to comment on there. This and this were more than not even close to half as good as the other two. That's my opinion. But the Wild Turkey Master's Keep is only half as good as the Michter's, and it's more expensive. So that goes to show you that you get into this premium category with these allocated limited releases. One, it's going to depend on your personal preference and your palate, what you like. But two, the quality there could vary a lot as well. You're probably going to get something more worth it than $16 or $17 worth, but will it really justify its full price? Like the Master's Keep, is it justifying that $275 compared to buying, I don't even know how many of these, 10 of them? No, not 10, that would be crazy, right? Somewhere, a lot of these you could buy for one of these. I don't know if it's that much better. It's distinctly better. It's got distincter, better notes. I don't know if it's that much better. The Michter's, though, it's one of the best whiskeys I've ever tasted, and it 100% blows away this competition and is like probably 10 times better than either of these two other cheaper whiskeys. All right, that's my breakdown, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed tasting each of these. I do think the distinct nature of these two made them a little bit easier to pick out, so it wasn't a terribly hard blind to figure out what I was sipping on here, but it was a fun experiment. So let me know in the comments below if you've ever done this with your own collection, or if you ever tasted a cheap whiskey side by side with one of your more expensive ones, and what you thought. Are these, more expensive bottles worth really that much more than our standard offerings? Just want to start a conversation around that point. Again, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and then comment down below. So I'll see you guys again for another video. All I can say is keep drinking good whiskey, and cheers.